Good morning, good afternoon, and a happy Thursday. I've got bad news. It finally happened. Today, I had another green day. And there wasn't a whole lot into the open today that I was watching, but we did actually have some really good opportunities. CISS was the main one that I had. I have 4 wins on this morning. You can see here, I'll break down all these entries here in a minute. Also had a very tiny little win on AIM. The follow through on this thing was absolutely trashed. And as you can see here over the pre-market highs. So that was not too pretty. And then we also had JTAI for a little bit of a win as well in the break the high of day. So let's go ahead and break it all down step by step. Hopefully you guys had an awesome day. Slower week, of course, Bitcoin is just nosediving. And so crazy week. But right now it is an all green week for the fam. I'm looking forward to going into Friday, doing it again. Look, slow does not mean red. And as you can see, there was opportunities even today. The biggest thing is just showing up every day, staying patient, and waiting for that perfect opportunity to come along. And today it did on CISS, and I couldn't be more happy. So let's go ahead and break it all down for you. Let's break down everything we were looking at this morning. And the pre-market watch list was huge this morning. We only had AIM. And I was watching it over 160 and VWAP for the range back to 190 and 240 over the pre-market highs. Now, of course, going into the open today on AIM, we didn't really get much of a move on that. So it tried to set up, and it really did coil tight out of market open, and I traded it plan. I traded it per the plan. We took the pullbacks there off the 9 EMA to see if I could get the squeeze up through the high, and we did. But it instantly rejected off the highs, and as you know, anytime that happens, where we have, again, this high, we have candle break to new high, then instantly reject. That's a full take profit every single time. So, again, had a good entry on this, though. You can see my entry here was way down here chilling at 173. I get a pop here all the way to 188. Again, then we just reject back underneath the previous candle's high off the opening high of 180. So I get a small win to start. And that was my icebreaker this morning on AIM. And so going into the open, I didn't really have much cushion to work with. Very small win here. But see, the thing is, and what sort of sets apart my days versus most is I come into every day, and like today and yesterday, for example, I came in expecting a no trade day. If I find nothing, it is what it is. If I find something, I'll get out there and trade it. So today on AIM, small win here. This was probably the smallest win of the morning, to be honest with you. But moving on to CISS, and we'll save that for last, actually. Let's go to JTAI. Again, only obvious stocks that were moving today. And so this one I actually missed the entries I would have preferred. The entry down here was so good. If I would have been able to take this either here, I was watching it here as well for the tightness off the 9 EMA, but it was kind of extended away from VWAP, so I didn't touch it. But even this spot here, and my problem here is, so look, I was watching it off this pullback off the 9 EMA, right? Fits my strategy to a T. But I didn't take it because of these big topping tails off the high back here. And so I noticed we have sellers here. So I don't take it here. I'm like, well, it's probably going to reject lower. So I didn't take it. So I made the right decision. Hindsight 20. I made the right decision, though. And so I wait for it to break out over these past highs. Then I take the pullback. And all right, that makes a whole lot more sense. So it breaks over the high. We take the pullback. It pulls back off the 90 EMA, gets bought back up. That's my entry. Again, stops at the bottom of this candle, looking for the gap higher. Now, I got a nice move here, actually, though, and I'm really happy with this. Now, of course, being how slow the market has been the last couple of days, I don't really have too much conviction playing breakout. So this was a very small size trade, but nonetheless, a nice little win here. So this was sort of, it was something, but it wasn't something. There wasn't much substance to the move. It was a good trade, but a low conviction setup for sure. After, well, a great setup, but in this market, I'm not going to size as much into it because, again, expected follow through on a setup like this, and this market is not too great, but it worked. CISS, though, the big one of the morning, where I actually was able to get pretty aggressive and trade pretty well with some decent size. So this was one that was not even on my radar for the morning, not one bit. And I came into the open and had it off my list because in pre-market, while this was pretty active, it was also pretty dang choppy. And so we had this sort of range put in off the highs here where we have these topping tails drag her on over. We know there's sellers overhead. But what I also notice here is, look at this. We have clear areas of demand formed all through here. And so where we have this base rally move, this is an area of liquidity. And so we can drag this over here and understand that this is an area of demand. Right? So we have demand. We know where there's buyers. We know where there's sellers. And so with that, I was able to take some pretty good trades on this. So the first trade I took was for the squeeze up through VWAP, where we come out of the open. And so it gaps up, puts in place this really tight range here underneath VWAP. And so what I'm looking for here is to break above. And so I see a buyer step up and thin on the whole way up here into the twos. And so I'm like, all right, let's try something here. So We broke over the highs. And in my mind, if this gets breaking over VWAP, you're going to find buyers. And so this gets going, breaks VWAP, pulls back. I get an ad for the breakup through new highs, back up into those pre-market highs we talked about. And I got the move, right? I got the move. And so the first trade there, you can see I'm in here at 211. Of course, stop loss is to be placed at the bottom of this candle off the 9 EMA. And so you're looking at 211 entry, 208 risk, maybe 5 cents a share of risk. So come on. So 5 cents a share of risk, and I got to move here to about 225. Super stoked. Starting the day well here now. It only takes one setup. And so then it pulls back off of VWAP, begins to hesitate on the pullbacks. And so I'm like, oh, sellers are clearly weak. I'm going to try and take it for a curl. Nothing else is moving. So surely buyers come back here. Able to, again, re-entry 220. Stops down here off the low of this last candle. And so again, you figure 220, risking off of 215. Again, 5 cents a share of risk, and I get to move here back to 225. Cool. Simple. Same story again. Price pulls back again. This time it tries to break beneath VWAP. Look at this. It tries, this is the key here, it tries to break beneath, and then a buyer steps back in. And so as the buyers step in here on this second candle after breaking down, of course, I take the entry. Stops go bottom of the candle again. I want to make sure it doesn't break back beneath that past low. And so again, entry 218, stops 213. Again, 5 cents a share of risk. It just happens to work out that way. No, I'm not looking to risk 5 cents a share in all my trades. It just happens to work in this setup, as that was the typical risk we had here. So again, I get to move here, as you can see, up into the highs again to 230. So again, come on, 218 to 230. I get about a 12-cent move, 5 cents of risk. You can't complain. Then again, we have this lower high. Look at this. It tries to break out higher and begins to look weak off those highs from pre-market. So that's when I took my full exit here. And again, I left it alone as price broke down off the highs. From here on out, this is a choppy no-go setup for me. So that's my entire day today. CISS, AIM, JTAI. There's still opportunities out there, y'all. There's still opportunities. And so while I had about a, gosh, what, a 20-minute day today, 30-minute day today, a shorter day, it's just one of those things where you come in, you stay picky. It does not mean to be red. It just means be a whole lot pickier. As long as you're picky, less setups come as a byproduct of a slower market. So I think right now with Bitcoin, if you have all these high risk, well, I could say not high risk, but risk on assets sort of plunging, have a bit of weakness. I think some not skepticism, but people sitting back and they're sort of hesitant to get out here and trade these small caps right now. And so as we see that selling pressure hopefully fade here soon on the cryptos, maybe you get some opportunities back here in the smalls again. So we'll have to see, but it usually is, they sort of go hand in hand. So that being said, that's my Thursday. Hopefully y'all had an awesome Thursday as well. But let me know how you did. Let me know in the comments below how your Thursday went. Hopefully it was a good one. That being said, though, if you did learn a thing or two from this video, make sure to subscribe for daily content just like this. And of course, make sure to claim your 7-day free trial to trade alongside me in real time every single day and get alerts, watch lists, chat room access, scanners, news, Momentum AI, Momentum Journal, and so much more. And that being said, I will catch you back tomorrow morning in the live stream or back here tomorrow after my day is up. And that being said, good luck, have a good Friday, and I'll see you later.